Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Zarif Aiman. I'm accompanied by my friend Sarah Kaira. Today we are going to present some of the ethical issues in working relationships in an organization, specifically the connection between employees and customers. So we'll start with the introduction. So basically in the corporate sector, caring for the interests of staffs and customers means customers please and maintaining them is critical to long-term success. Staffs who interact with these customers are frequently the ones who decide their level of happiness, keeping them satisfied with the organization and preventing them from seeking to satisfy their requirements elsewhere. Customer service is both philosophical and cultural. Everyone from the CEO to the new staff is involved in customer service and the customer experience. Every staff has an influence on the outside customer, the internal customer or shareholders, and the customer's experience, or all three. All staff happiness and customer satisfaction are strongly linked. Customers who are satisfied with the staffs are likely to be delighted with their purchases. Staff dissatisfaction leads to dissatisfied customers. The staff interactions set the tone for whether a customer has a pleasant or bad experience. When staff are dissatisfied with their jobs, their interactions with customers can and nearly always will worsen. This might have significant issue for an organization over time. Furthermore, staff experience is becoming increasingly essential as millennial and Gen Z staffs want more from their companies than a simple paycheck. They want to create an impression by performing meaningful work as part of an organization that invests in its staff and treats them properly. So we'll start with our first issue. Is called the connection between your employees and customers. So basically, when both staffs and customers are satisfied, an organization is doing something well. Staff happiness is closely related to customer satisfaction, which is directly related to financial performance. Customers are the lifeblood of every organization. They pay the bills, they pay the wages, and give the necessary resources for infrastructure such as growth. Staffs that are satisfied with their jobs put their hearts and souls into their work, resulting in new ideas, products, and services that benefit both the customer and the organization. Companies, next slide. Companies must handle some of the following frequent challenges to achieve customer satisfaction, such as product or service quality, safety concerns, overpricing, broken promises, misleading advertising, and etc. Also, staffs do not function well when they are anxious, depressed, or experiencing some sort of internal conflict. Controlling a staff's emotion is directly related to how satisfied customers are with the experience and whether they return to the organization or go to one of our competitors. So, for example, Starbucks is an example of an organization that has both happy customers and happy staffs. Customers, like workers, want to feel valued when they interact with a company. Job security, fulfillment, and happiness are all factors that contribute to the company's low turnover rate and satisfied customers. Staffs must feel the same way as the company's most important customers. They must be pleased and satisfied. Our next issue is called the effects of sexual harassment in workplace, experience of employees in hospitality industry in Terengganu, Malaysia. So sexual harassment is defined as unsolicited sexual behavior or nature that is unpleasant, embarrassing, threatening, or humiliating that may have an impact on a staff's job, performance, health, career, or life. It is also a circumstance in which a co-worker, supervisors, or customers' inappropriate sexual behavior impacts a staff's performance at work or creates a uncomfortable or frightening working environment or setting. Sexual harassment has been highlighted as a persistent block to men's and women's success and fulfillment. To date, between 35% to 53% of Malaysian women have reported sexual harassment at work, which is a serious health and safety issue. So below are some of the factors that may contribute a high prevalence of sexual harassment in the hostel sector. First, we'll go through alcohol and drugs, which creates a hostile environment, and drunk customers may misbehave and use foul language. Second, working hours that are long and irregular, including evenings, nights, and also holidays. Third, precarious and insecure working circumstances. Fourth, the guest is always right mindset. Fifth, this sector specifically attracts friendly, active, and outgoing individuals who due to have a high level of social contact. General hospitality is sometimes misinterpreted as an invitation to sexual advances. Six, and finally, is a sexualized workplace may lead to clients or customers seeing staff in some service industries as sex objects rather than workers. So sexual harassment will cost an organization in a number of ways, including legal and monetary penalties, higher staff absenteeism and sick days, staff turnover, which raises the cost of acquiring and training new workers, bad media reaction, decreased job performance, and also low self-esteem. So a structural shift is required for the sector to reach its full potential and become an appealing place to work. For example, Asian governments have begun to take action by brainstorming solutions to the problem. The Philippines passed an anti-sexual harassment law in 1995, and its Civil Service Commission established a policy of zero tolerance for sexual harassment in the workplace. Similarly to Thailand, amended its labor code in 1998, including sanctions for sexual abuse by superiors. So an effective sexual harassment policy may be beneficial to an organization in a variety of ways. So firstly, relation management. Managers and staff will get basic sexual harassment education, which is critical to reduce legal liabilities. Second, detecting, minimizing, mapping, and also managing sexual harassment protects staff from prospective or potential harassers. Lastly, all staff should face clear and specific disciplinary procedures. When there is a clear policy, victims and witnesses will be encouraged to report. Thank you. I'll be passing to Sarah for the following issues.
Hi, my name is Sarah. So I will be presenting about the issue number 3. So the third issue would be hijab discrimination in workplace, especially in the United States. So Muslim women should be free to express their religious belief, including choosing whether or not to wear head coverings. So in the US, they should free from discrimination and prejudice. Muslim women have been prohibited from wearing their head coverings in a number of contexts. They have been harassed, fired from jobs, denied access to public places, and otherwise discriminated against because they only wear a piece of clothing, which is hijab. Because of their visibility, Muslim women who wear hijab face particular exposure to discrimination and have increasingly been targets for harassment. So, for example, for hijab discrimination in the US, firstly, there was a reported case in Abercrombie and Fitch, Hollister, which was filed in the 2011, but then was only resolved in the 2013. So the charging party was a Muslim, and the defendant refused to accommodate the religion because of the charging party by allowing her to wear a hijab and discharge her. And then the second issue is in Shades Crest Healthcare Center was filed during 2014. It is a voluntary dismissal. Defendant denied charging party, a certified nursing assistant, and the reasonable accommodation of allowing her to wear her headscarf while working and discharge her only because of her religion. So there are several solutions that was taken by the US government to solve this issue, which are the laws that protect women who wear hijab. So firstly, what the government has implemented was US Constitution allows neutral rules that apply to everyone, such as a rule barring all coverings, whether for religious purpose or not. Secondly, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, RFRA, provides additional protection at the federal level by barring the federal government and its officials from restricting women's ability to practice hijab. Thirdly, one federal civil rights law, the 7th of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, prohibits an employer from firing, refusing to hire, or disciplining a woman because of religious practices like hijab. And lastly, Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC, specifically stated that refusing to hire someone because of a concern that customers or co-workers may be uncomfortable with hijab is illegal. So moving on to the last issues that we will be highlighting, which is Western country exploits third world countries' labor. So mistreating employees has become a familiar scenario in small and big companies who make employees work for long hours and underpay them. In the wake of finding cheap labor, many companies in developed nations, such as the US, hire sweatshops in third countries for bulk manufacturing, countries such as China and also Pakistan. And the six most common forms of employee mistreatment include not meeting minimum wage requirements, ignoring overtime pay laws, misclassification of employees, workplace discrimination, workplace retaliation, and wrongful termination. So these are the example of the countries that exploit third world countries. So firstly, Foxconn. This tech giant Apple has been using the services of Foxconn, which is a Taiwanese manufacturing company that has been manufacturing the coveted iPhone. Foxconn has been accused of employing child slaves from age 14, working in hazardous conditions for 10 hours a day all through the week. And secondly, Nike. Nike were accused of tolerating sweatshops with their workers facing poverty, harassment, dismissal, and intimidation. There were many reports of children under 16 in Pakistan who were forced to work for the company, which has now been declared illegal under US air quality standards. So what they did to resolve this issue was the minimum working age has now been raised to 18 years old in Nike shoe factories. Secondly, Nike has also promised to improve the conditions of 500,000 global workers. And lastly, immediate steps have been taken to return the interns in question, which is for the Foxconn, in question to their educational insurance. So far as a conclusion. Islam has been teaching and implying ethics in Muslim, which is to Islam has been teaching and implying the ethics in Muslim. Islamic ethics directs us towards a better way of life for individuals and social order in the society in which we live. The presence of ethics aids in the provision of principles and also standards to an organization, especially in the workplace. Organizations should train their employees to follow ethical rules and guidelines so that problems such as whistleblowing or harassment could be avoided. So that is all from me. Thank you. That is all from me and Zarif. Thank you.